Welcome back to Real Talk. You're listening to, welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan.
There we go.
Our first guest today is Jenni Butz with BNI Northwest. Jenni is the regional director for BNI Northwest, part of the world's largest networking organization. A former high school French and English teacher, Jenni started her own business in 2013 as a professional speaker, MC, and auctioneer, helping professionals learn, grow, and give money in ways that matter. Now she helps almost 1,100 BNI members in the Puget Sound area build their business through relationships. Words are her work, and grammar is her jam. Sorry, just wanted to rhyme. Please
Having too much fun.
welcome to the show, Jenni Butz.
Hello. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. So we talked about this beforehand. You had to come up with some hobbies because you work so hard. But if you had free time, what would your hobbies be?
I have free time. It's a myth that I work that hard.
Oh, good.
I was just thinking back over my calendar recently, and apparently one of my hobbies is going to Paris.
No.
Because I just completed my 13th trip.
Is that all?
That's all.
Wow.
Okay, so tell us something about Paris that keeps bringing you back.
Well, it took 11 times before I even went to the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, jeez.
And I discovered on the 12th time that you can drink champagne at the top of the Eiffel Tower. And that's a pretty cool thing to say you have in your memory.
Gotcha. So now that was your motivating factor to get to the top.
Yes, after I went to therapy to overcome my fear of heights.
Wow. Like, did you just crawl up a little ways each time and said, I'm going to have to come back here and try
Well, the
it?
Space Needle was my penultimate victory.
Okay.
Once I could do the Space Needle, then I was ready to go back to Paris.
Gotcha. Oh, my goodness.
So we like to ask each guest to share with us a fond memory of the home you grew up in.
It's not a fond memory. It's actually kind of a terrifying one.
Oh, okay.
When I
Well,
was
this
a
is a
kid.
house
Is this about the
real
heights?
estate.
You know?
But it was about the outside
Terrified.
of the house. So maybe the inside was a place of comfort and peace. The outside was surrounded by construction. We were the first house in a new neighborhood, and there were grasshoppers everywhere. And as like a 5-year-old, I was terrified. So going inside was a very pleasant memory.
There you go. There you go.
Where was that at?
In Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm a Hoosier.
I guess in the summertime, there's lots of grasshoppers.
Apparently there
Apparently.
were.
Yeah.
There were then.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, all right, what is BNI and how did it get started?
BNI stands for Business Network International, and it was started back in 1984. Dr. Ivan Meisner was a business consultant in Southern California, and he had just lost his biggest client, which, as it turns out, was 50% of his business, and they were going out of business. And he realized, since we're talking about real estate, that mortgages still need to be paid.
Yep.
It's a funny thing.
Yeah.
So he needed to find more business, and he gathered up the best of everyone he knew in any given industry, and they all met together weekly to give referrals to each other, and the idea spread from Southern California to now we are over 250,000 members in 73 countries.
Wow. So how is BNI different from other networking groups like, say, the Chamber of Commerce?
They're great together, but they're very different, and maybe that's why they work well. Chambers of Commerce, I've been where there are dozens up to 100 or more people at a Chamber of Commerce, and you might have 3 or 4 realtors, 3 or 4 mortgage brokers, and you can join, come if you want. If you can't make the lunch, that's fine. They have after hours, all kinds of different events. BNI is very structured, and it works well with Chambers of Commerce, but each chapter only has one person per profession, and you are expected to come every week because it's based on building relationships.
Yeah. And I've been a part of a chapter in Bellevue since 2008. And the funny story is how I decided my business, it is people too, right? And a lot of folks that understand being self-employed or having a solopreneur recognize that they've got to build a network. They've got to have people that are like-minded. And so I did a lot of networking with other businesses, right? And I went out there and I met people. But what never happened was a deeper relationship. So how is it that BNI has really defined itself as being something so much more different than just business networking? That's kind of weird.
Well, because it is based on relationships. Our tagline is changing the way the world does business. And I was at a conference in Bangkok in November where our CEO talked about not just changing the way the world does business, but because we're building relationships and we're not just having transactions and getting the sale,
Right.
we might just change the world. And I love being a part of an organization that could do that, because if I'm going to change how I interact with people professionally, that's sure to carry over in how they interact with people. And wouldn't it be great if we could give to charities and feed hungry children and do all the things that businesses would love to do outside the bottom line?
And small businesses, especially people that are passionate about what they want to do, right, are getting started, don't necessarily have a school for how to become a great networker, how to build their business through leverage. And, for Brian and I, when we do business and we send, let's say, a home inspector, or we send a window washer, or we send a small trade, they become a representative of us.
Right.
And so if there's no relationship there, Brian and I are constantly saying, hey, we've got to find people that do perform at a high level for us, not just because of us, but because our clients are being, they view them as a face of us.
Right.
So that's where that deeper relationship. What are some tips that you can give some professionals for being more effective in their networking?
Well, I think when we go to networking events, I have so often just had business cards shoved in my hand because people can't wait, and they think you're going to go home and just call because you can't wait. But every one of those events, people go to sell and no one comes to buy.
Right.
So from the beginning of the event, everyone is at opposite purposes. So I think you can never go wrong personally or professionally by asking questions.
Good question.
And I try to ask questions that are not something they've heard before. I love at networking events to ask, what is it that makes you excited to get up in the morning? When you say, oh, today I get to do blank. What is it that makes you most excited? Because that usually reveals the passion they have for their business. And then you can talk about previous jobs they've had. And then it's a far more interesting conversation. People love to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
I've left events and people say, I just really like that Jenni Butz. And I'll say, you don't know anything about me. You like that I talked about you the whole time.
That's right.
Well, that comes back to how to win friends and influence people, right?
Dale Carnegie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So how did you get involved with BNI?
I was a high school teacher, as you mentioned in my introduction. And when my son went back to school and it was time to go back to work, instead of doing a traditional classroom job, I worked for a tutoring company on the east side. Shout out to my Pacific Learning Academy peeps. And my boss wanted me to represent her since she was neither an extrovert nor a morning person. And these are weekly meetings in the morning. And so I went in as an employee as a French tutor. And I met such competent strategic connections in that chapter that I was able to start my own business. So after 3 years, I sat down with my boss and I said, I have time and energy to pursue your dreams or mine, and I choose mine. Guess what? She totally understood. And then after 3 years of representing myself in the chapter, this opportunity for leadership, there was a big leadership change in our region. And I said, ooh, I could influence and help lots of people with their businesses.
Awesome.
And it's been exciting.
So what's happening with BNI here in the Northwest?
Well, we currently have 38 chapters, all the way down from Gig Harbor and Pierce County up to the Canadian border. Our northernmost chapter right now is in the Arlington-Marysville area. And September is our month of leadership transition. Every year we have new leaders, so all of the chapters are getting ready to transition to new things. This fall or winter, we're going to have a couple of events called the Big Breakfast, where all kinds of professionals who are not members of BNI can come and hear a little bit more about it and meet people and have some strategic networking opportunities.
Awesome.
So our topic today is building your business by building relationships. What are some important aspects of relationships that come into play with business?
Couldn't that have 1,000 answers?
It could.
Lucky
so give
for
us
you.
your top couple.
Yes, lucky for you, I've narrowed it down to 2. I have found that shared values and effective communication are crucial in professional and personal relationships. Shared values, because if you are facing the same direction as another person in life, you know that you can count on them for integrity and honesty, and you are going to share those values in how you do business or who you choose as a spouse. Those kinds of things are the foundational principles we build our lives on. And effective communication is so important because only 7% of our communication is the words we use. So if we can harness the energy behind our body language and our tone and all of the other parts that communication embodies, we are going to be far more effective in business and at home.
Well, so how does BNI help with that?
BNI is based on 7 core values, the first of which and the most important that everyone knows in our membership is giver's gain. which is based on Zig Ziglar's quote that if you help enough people get what they want in life, you will get what you want. And so having such carefully articulated core values means that everybody there is kind of set apart from other business people who aren't in an organization like BNI because we do business differently. We try to help other people. I've never known a group of people who can't wait to make a connection for you, can't wait to help you or find a resource for you. And that really sets everybody apart.
Well, along those lines, that's kind of the whole idea is as an individual, BNI from networking is not about going into that room and seeing who in that room I can sell my goods to. The whole idea is to go into that room and then train the other 20, 30, 40 professionals the type of business I'm looking for this week. Because when they go out into their network and they do their things and they hear these catchphrases, oh, I hear we're getting ready, we have another baby on the way, we may need more room. Now they're the person that can actually say, hey, I've got a guy, and have the confidence that it's not some random agent, but somebody they know well.
Right. I've got a guy. That's one of our favorite lines.
That's great. I love it. So, Jenni, you've been a teacher. What homework do you have for us in this area?
Oh, no.
In other words, what are some resources you'd recommend for good communication?
Homework is just fun work that you get to do at home.
Sounds like a teacher.
No, it's
Jeez
good.
Louise.
I have read a couple of really great books on communication. One is called Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott, and another was called Crucial Conversations by several authors. And that crucial conversation comes from a group. You can go to their website. It's called vitalsmarts.com. And they are a great resource for all kinds of accountability, communication resources for businesses. And you can hire a consultant or go to a class or download resources there.
It's awesome. My book list keeps growing.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm reading like 5 books at a time right now. So if somebody was interested, one of our listeners had a small business or knew of somebody that had a small business that would like to get connected, how would they find out about joining a chapter?
The best place to find any information that you need is BNINW.com, BNI Northwest, BNINW.com. My phone number is there. My email is there. You can also find a list of all 38 chapters, as well as where there are groups that are starting. So if your position is already taken somewhere and you want to start your own new group, everything you need is at our regional website.
So how many chapters are starting right now?
I would guess we have several down in Pierce and Southern King County, a couple here in Bellevue, actually, one in Bothell. We probably have half a dozen or more new groups that are starting, always with real estate brokers.
Yeah.
Real estate brokers know the value of the
That's right.
network.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think you'll find real estate brokers, mortgage brokers, financial advisors, all are pretty solid with that.
Yeah, for sure.
So you answered this partially already, but how do our listeners get a hold of you? What's your phone number?
425-246-2815, and it's Jenni Butz at BNI.com.
All right. And so new chapters are starting. They can contact you directly. What about your area directors that handle certain areas? Are there certain numbers they should call or just go to the website?
If they just go to me, I will filter them to the right person because all the area directors are by geography. So I'll make sure they go to the right area director.
And the website is what again?
www.bninw.com.
Awesome.
Jenni, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
After the break, we have in studio Barry Nia, who will be discussing fundamentals of real estate appraising. Stay tuned after the break for more.
Not sure if now is the right time to sell? Worried you missed the market? The Eastside Real Estate Team specializes in helping homeowners maximize their equity when selling. With our proven premier listing service, our clients have sold their homes for more money in less time than the competition. We know you have many choices when working with a real estate agent, but with the Eastside Real Estate Team, you get a team of highly qualified, experienced agents. From staging to deciding if your property is market ready for top dollar. If you're considering selling, call the Eastside Real Estate Team at 425-200-4093 or check out our website at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Feeling disorganized? Do you have trouble finding things in your home or feel overwhelmed when you open a drawer in the kitchen? Does your house add unnecessary stress to your already busy life? If the answer is yes to any of these questions, the professional organizers from Born to Organize would love to help. Born to Organize specializes in general home organizing, downsizing, home sale preparation, and move-in assistance. Unlike other organizing businesses, we also have a full-time licensed carpenter to assist with larger system installations and handyman projects. In as little as one visit, Born to Organize can help eliminate stress and anxiety in your life by utilizing an individualized approach with each client that includes decluttering and creation of simple systems within your home. Born to Organize serves Snohomish County, King County, and is available to travel throughout the United States on a per-project basis. Jamie Bourne and her team of organizers are simplification experts and love nothing more than making a house feel like a home. Please visit our website at BOURNE2ORGANIZE.com. You can also call us at 650-274-4308 or email Jamie at bourne2organize@gmail.com.
Tired of the same old conversations at networking events that never lead to new clients? BNI is changing the way the world does business by connecting you to strategic relationships that can help you grow your business. BNI is the world's largest networking organization, helping hundreds of thousands of members around the world each year increase revenue through relationship marketing. For information about visiting a BNI chapter near you, go to the BNI Northwest website at BNINW.com.
Alternative Talk 1150.